Welcome to the Spiritual Awakening with Shaz podcast, where we unlock the power within and navigate the journey of your self-discovery together. I'm Shaz, your spiritual mentor and life coach, here to help you tap into your inner guidance system and manifest your best life. Whether you're just beginning your spiritual journey or looking to deepen your practice, this podcast offers insights, techniques, and inspiration to elevate your consciousness and transform your reality. Get ready to shine your light and embrace your true potential. Remember, the answers are inside you. Let me be your guide on earth. Welcome back to Spiritual Awakening with Shaz. Today I want to talk to you about something that a lot of women will understand deep in their bones. When you're a good person and when you're kind, you often see people struggling. And it's so easy to open up your heart, your home, your energy, and your time and say, I can help. And sometimes that is truly beautiful. It can be healing. And sometimes it's exactly what it looks like. But there are many times where kindness without boundaries becomes self-abandonment. Sometimes helping someone means carrying them. It's where they turn your compassion into obligation, and you give someone an inch and they take a mile. Suddenly they're living in your nervous system rent-free. That's what I want to talk about today, not from theory, but from lived experience. Very recently, I've had to sit with something that brought up old patterns, old lessons, and old ways of being. And it showed me how so far I had come along this journey and how different I am in myself. This episode's not about blaming anyone. It's about looking at the truth of my own inner growth and seeing what those lessons are, why they come back around again, and how it is showing me where I'm at in my life right now. This happens when you do you. You've been through hard things. You can develop an ability to see the pain in other people. You know what it feels like. Your empathy is on high alert. You don't want them to struggle or feel alone. And you know they need someone just to believe in them. And these people will be attracted to your life, and you can see they need help, and your heart opens up very quickly. And you think to yourself, I can help them. I'll give them a chance, make it easier, support them while they get back on their feet, find their ground, and stand up for themselves, learn who they are. It comes from the most beautiful place of a compassionate and empathetic heart. But sometimes people take it too far, and we're actually being a disservice to themselves and back to us. You can't use your kindness as an excuse to enable someone not to grow, to heal, or to become what they're meant to be. There's nothing wrong with being generous, kind, or giving opportunities, but you do have to be honest about it and have clear boundaries. Set timelines if they're needed. Give them clarity on what your expectations are for them and yourself. And look at yourself and see, are you actually helping a situation or hindering? Loving does not mean being loose with yourself or your life and giving away all your power. Being kind does not mean that you have to put your needs on the back burner in order to help someone else. Don't ignore your own discomfort. Pay attention to those signs. This is where the true lesson really starts. You notice energy shifting. It shifts slowly with sly comments, strange energies, a feeling in your body that something's not quite right, the tone of voice, certain looks, and the change in your physical well-being of how you respond to people in your life. And often because we want to be fair and we don't want to talk ourselves out of what we're sensing, we start inner questioning. Am I overthinking? Making excuses for them. Are they stressed? Discerning Am I being too sensitive? Maybe it's less of a deal than I'm making it. And sometimes we talk ourselves out of the full truth. And this is how some people can come around and start gaslighting us and start making us question, is reality really reality? This is where your body starts to take over and it reads the room long before you even enter it. And it shows you what your mind knows long before you're ever able to admit it. That's your intuition. It's not always loud. It's certainly not always dramatic, even though people like to go, oh my God, this is my intuition. It showed up in all these sparkly ways. It's not always the case. Sometimes it can be a tightness in the chest, a heaviness in your gut, the sensation that energy has changed, the feeling that you really need to pay closer attention to what's going on. This is where so many women override themselves because they don't want to be difficult or unfair or make things awkward. So they sit back and wait, tolerate, and observe, and giving way too many chances, praying, hoping, and wishing it will settle. But what really happens underneath is resentment builds, not just in the other person, but in yourself too. It's every time you say something and you feel nothing, you betray yourselves. Just that little bit. Every time you notice a boundary being pushed and pushed and pushed, and you step back and stay quiet, your body remembers. It becomes unsafe to acknowledge this. Your body creates a new boundary of what it will accept and what it won't accept, and it goes on high alert. And every time we choose peace on the outside while feeling so unsettled on the inside, we actually create internal pressure. Now, this shows up as aches, pains, discomfort, little niggles here and there, problems. And this pressure has to find somewhere to go. Overgiving has a deep cost. Not many people want to hear about it. But if you keep giving without checking whether the relationship is still balanced, you're going to end up angry. Not because you're a bad person, but because your system, your body, your nervous system recognizes something is off. When you give too much, you start to feel used. When you do not speak up early, small things become really big things. And avoiding those hard conversations, your body starts having it for you. I can tell you personally, and I witnessed it in some friends this week, I'm not the only one going through this. It is an energetic thing lots of people are having at this moment. They won't have hard conversations. They won't put across their expression. And they're developing throat issues, colds and flu, problems in their voice. All because they won't speak up. And the body starts acknowledging it and showing you what you need to do. It can also look like snapping, withdrawing, feeling resentful, being short with people, exhaustion, feeling like you want to explode over something that looks really small on the outside, but it's not actually just that one thing. It's a culmination of things that pile up and get bottled down until that final straw breaks the camel's back and you implode or explode. And when you do that, the first emotion that really rises to the surface is shame. Not towards them, but towards yourself, because you overreacted or overresponded. You caused a scene. You made a fight. And then you blame yourself with it. When the actual truth is, you have to step back and start asking questions. Did I over-accommodate? How did I make things easier for someone else while making them harder for myself? Were there early warning signals that I disregarded? Where do I allow kindness to become an obligation? Was there a time where I needed clearer terms from the start? Did I do something wrong? Did I create this? How did I manifest this and bring it towards me? What do I need to learn from it? These are the things that will move you from being a victim of any situation into becoming the woman, the powerhouse, the goddess that learns from it. Now, too many people don't even realize there is a big difference between compassion and carrying. I want to show you some of those differences now. When you're supporting someone, we say things like, I believe in you. Let me help you in this way. Here are the boundaries. This is what I can offer, but this is what I can't offer. This is what I will not offer. How many people out there can stand up and say, this is the line in the sand and you cannot cross it? When we're carrying people, it shows up in energy like, I'll make your life easier even when mine becomes harder. I'll adjust my routine or do my things last or put myself on the back burner in order to make it easier for someone else. You start absorbing the discomfort. You're the one that adjusts. You have to keep proving that you're kind, and you hope and pray that someone appreciates it. That's not actually love. It's truly self-abandonment dressed up as compassion. And I say that with the deepest love because many of us done it, and even myself, just recently. But in it, I realized what was going on, and I started making adjustments, and I asked myself the hard questions. What did I do to create this scenario? What is it here to teach me? How can I grow from it, never to bring it about again? And what do I need to adjust or pivot within myself in order to get that better outcome? Many women are actually conditioned to be helpers, fixers, the emotional shock absorbers, and the one that understands and helps everybody. But that doesn't have to turn you into a doormat. Sometimes you still have to ask yourself, am I helping because this is aligned, this is what I want to do? Or am I doing it because I now feel responsible for someone else's feelings, for their actions, for their status, for where they are in their life? Are you being kind or are you enabling bad behavior? Are you stopping them from finding their feet and growing in their own way in order to avoid guilt by becoming overgenerous, giving too much? Because otherwise they're going to blame you of being selfish, when in actual fact they're not taking their own responsibility. Sometimes we have to put the onus back on them. One of the things you do start to realize when you're overgiving and helping people around you and you're doing everything to make them feel better, when good things start happening to you and you start going well and you become what you're meant to be by moving forward, shifting your energy, taking up those opportunities, when you start to receive more, they actually can't celebrate with you. That is one of the first signs when someone can't celebrate your successes with grace, love, and true appreciation, that there's some underlying jealousy, envy, or control issues going on. We don't want to admit it to ourselves. We don't want to see it. We make excuses for it. But a true, healthy, healed person is going to celebrate your success exactly as if it was their own and be honest and truly blessed and pleased about it for you without any jealousy or envy or contradiction. Your growth and visibility and your success is going to inspire them to lift up, chase up, and want to get their own. It doesn't have to activate them into bringing you down, belittling you, or making you feel less than what you are. And some of our deepest friendships and family members will do this to us. They will see you celebrating, being happy, thriving, really growing and being confident in everything you do, and make a sly comment hoping to bring your level down. That is not someone who is available for your success. That is someone who wants to detract from your success. Because if they keep you small, they don't have to look at how small they're playing in themselves. Your confidence, your success can irritate the part of someone waiting for permission. Pay attention to how people really feel when good things start happening to you. Never shrink yourself to make other people comfortable. You never have to hide your own blessings. Celebrate them, appreciate them, love them, share them. How they manage their resentment because your life is improving is their work, not yours. You can be compassionate, but you don't have to make yourself smaller, and you certainly don't have to hide your successes, your gains, your wins, your abundance, your prosperity in order to keep them happy. Being humble does not mean hiding your light under a spiritual potato sack. It does not mean fading into the background, hiding away. We don't need to do that anymore. I didn't celebrate some of my things of great success in the last couple of months as loudly in my own space because I didn't want to upset someone who wasn't enjoying that same success. That's on me. I had to acknowledge how important it was for me to understand what role I was playing in allowing someone to keep me smaller than what I was. I had to unpack the situation to see what were my feelings about it. And I discovered a whole hidden lesson and a childhood block that I didn't realize was riding to the surface. This block about my creative expression, the way that I could celebrate my wins, was something trained in me in childhood to play small or not be more than anybody else, so as I didn't draw as much attention to myself. And I chose today to heal that, to sit here openly and understand where the pattern started as young as 9 years old and change that. And choose the way I celebrate and acknowledge each and every step that I make. Because sitting with that will only now enable me more growth, more striving, more breakthroughs than ever before. It's the way you handle things now that matters. And this past lesson showed me how differently I handled a similar situation than a few years back compared to when everything fell apart and I broke down in the process. I now refuse to stay in guilt, blame, or over-explanation. I choose my own responsibility, how I collapse time, how I build my confidence and rise up to become everything I'm meant to be. Because this time, I could see the patterns, name them, and feel what was mine and what wasn't. And that differentiation made the world a difference, because the recovery aspect of it and the way you build through it to step back up in vibration and become who I'm meant to be, with stronger boundaries, more confidence and clarity, and total discernment of what I will choose and allow compared to what I won't. That inner growth is phenomenal. Now, growth doesn't mean that you will never get triggered. This is what too many people make mistakes about. They think when you grow that you're never going to be triggered again, that it can't happen again. But it's not about getting actually triggered. It's about the recovery process of when that hurt or harm is done to you and how you bounce back. It's how you stop making excuses for patterns that keep you costing your peace. And there's a big difference between the confusion of being loving and being supportive and compassionate and being endlessly available, overgiving, and playing small to satisfy someone else. One of the brutal truths and lessons I had to learn throughout this is if you do not set terms early, life will set them for you later, and it only gets messier. Clear boundaries at the beginning prevent resentment at the end. So I now know what I can offer, what time frame I'm willing to give and assist for. This is the agreement. I make these agreements in my coaching practice all the time, but I never fully made them with friends or family or other people around of how I gave my time, support, compassion, upliftment, and guidance. And sometimes we have to do that. And in laying down those boundaries, you also have to lay out your own expectations. What do you need in return? What happens when things change? What happens when this no longer works for me? And let me tell you, that can be the most uncomfortable feeling in the world, especially if you like being liked and if you have old patterns around people pleasing, or you grew up feeling that love had to be earned through your usefulness. There's a big difference between being clear and being unkind, being direct and being rude, and having standards is certainly not selfish. Many people are going to make you feel that they are. That's on them. It's actually one of the most mature, clean ways you can have any contact or contract with anyone else. And a contract doesn't have to be written. It is an agreement for both parties to show up in certain expectations. It saves so much confusion later. And if someone can't take your boundaries, that's on them. Never lay your boundaries down for anybody else. They can either adhere to them or you can remove your support. That is the true aspect of what giving and kindness is about. Not a cost to you, measured by your own boundaries, limitations, or your version of what you consider enough is. Not overgiving, people pleasing, and laying down so they can walk all over you. Spiritually, this whole journey was not about the situation whatsoever. It was truly about identity, about who I am now. Do I still have to be that overgiver to prove that I'm good enough? Do I ignore my own body because I want to be fair? Do I let guilt guide and lead my life? And that one I can tell you, hell no. Guilt was a massive trigger and a massive lesson in my life. If you guilted me into something, I would pretty much do anything. I no longer give people permission to do that to me. I choose not to allow to be made to be felt guilty for saying no in situations that don't help me in any way. I will not sacrifice my happiness, my well-being, or myself for anybody else. It has taught me how to think, process before reacting. Doesn't mean I don't get angry. And yes, you can still push me into a response if you keep pushing the boundaries too far. But I don't wait until I'm so angry that I can't speak anymore. I will lay it out on the table and tell you what's going on. Because being loving is also about having clarity, being outspoken, sharing your truths. They may not like it, and that's okay. That is on them. It teaches you how to trust your intuition, know where your peace lies, and work out who you can offer help to without losing yourself in the process. This is the real work. The same situation can show up again through different people until you finally become that different version of self inside of yourself. That's where the power really lies. Not in controlling other people or making everyone understand. Not in getting perfect apologies or people bowing down and scraping over you to tell you that you were right. It's about the power of becoming so clear in yourself that you say no longer negotiate against your own well-being. And it makes you sit back and think, what would I do differently next time? I'm never going to stop being kind. I will always remain compassionate, and I will still help people if it feels aligned. But I will not allow my boundaries to be pushed aside, made to feel like a problem in my own space, and to be blamed for other people's inadequacies. And I will not let loose and have a rage and chuck a tantrum over it. I will find calm ways of talking about it, laying down the rules, and making it very clear up front of my expectations, your expectations, and the timing involved in it all. And I will also learn to address tension before it has a chance to build up, and not allow myself to become so uncomfortable that I started staying away from my environment simply so that I wouldn't over-respond. It comes down to asking some questions of self. Does it feel aligned for me too? Is the relationship, friendship, family member, whatever relationship, balanced? Do I get as much as I give? Am I giving from love or am I giving from guilt? Is being generous abandoning myself? And one of my favorite ones, would my future me approve of this agreement that I'm giving right now? When you look at life through that lens and ask those questions, everything around you changes. Don't allow yourself to create a crisis to wake you up. If you are listening to this and you know you've been overgiving, I want you to pause and be totally honest with yourself. Where are you being kind but finding yourself resentful? Where are you helping or overgiving and becoming secretly exhausting? Is there anywhere you're saying yes while your body is screaming no? Do you give someone access to your life that they've not earned? Are you trying to prove how good you are? And where do you know the truth, but you've been waiting for it to become impossible to ignore? Don't let yourself become hard or cold or stop caring. Don't allow someone to push you to abandon yourself, change the way you show up, stop being kind or compassion. Do the inner work. Don't change who you are at your core because someone overtakes. Someone wants too much of you. You can still be the giver without overgiving. During the week, I want you to do a simple reset. And before you do anything, just take a pause and ask, do I actually want to do this? Is there capacity for it? What terms do I want to do it under? Are there any boundaries that need to be spoken before I do it? And what will the emotional cost, physical, financial, or energetic costs be to me? And if you can't answer those questions clearly, don't rush into the yes. A delayed yes is much better than a resentful one. A clean no is much better than a messy yes and backing out later. And a clear agreement is so much better than a silent expectation. I want you to remember during the week, you can be generous without being available for imbalance. Compassion does not mean carrying what is not yours. You can help people without rescuing them, love them without overfunctioning, and most of all, trust your body completely when it whispers instead of waiting for it to wake up and scream at you. To the woman listening, I do not need you to lose yourself to prove your goodness. You can still be warm and have boundaries, open with discernment, kind and clear, spiritual and practical, because real freedom lives not by being liked by every single person and not being the big savior for everybody else. Freedom lives in knowing who you are, what your value is, what you allow, and what you no longer negotiate. So this week, I want you to take moments and ask yourself, does any of your kindness need a boundary? What would I change if I honored a boundary before resentment was brought up to teach me that lesson? If you need any help with this, please reach out. I would love to hear your comments and understand, have you been going through this with anyone in your life? You have the power to speak up and raise those boundaries and put out your expectations, because that is going to help you move out of survival mode, rebuild your self-trust, have stronger boundaries, and create emotional steadiness. You deserve it, sweetheart. You're not broken. You just have to remember you first. And that starts one honest boundary at a time. Until next time. Thanks for listening to the Spiritual Awakening with Shaz podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below so you don't miss an episode. You can also follow us on Facebook with the links below. Until next time, trust your intuition and let your spirit soar.